Hey Room 7, Mrs. Smith here. So I'm planning on using this Show Me platform for our math instruction, but before we jump into new content and learn how to use this program, we're going to do a lesson that we've already done before. This is the first lesson in Unit 5. We've already finished Unit 5, but we're going to practice with this older content, and I'm still going to have check for understanding in Think Central. So even though this is older content, what I'm really looking for is some feedback on if this video works for you, like if this style. I have ordered a stylus. Today I'm going to be using my fingers. I think that will help, so please excuse any messy finger drawing, and if you need it to be like louder or bigger text or anything like that, please let me know. Alright, with that said, let's jump into it. So, normally when we start with new content, I'll tell you what page to rip out and you can go through the page with me, but we don't have this page anymore, so you can either follow along on a whiteboard or a piece of paper or something like that, whatever works for you for today. So it says, look at the math mountain and the 8 equations. What relationships do you see? In each equation, label the number as an addend or the total. So A for addend, T for total. You'll remember from previous years that in the math mountain, that's this shape right here, the total is always at the top and the 2 addends are at the bottom. Sometimes they're called partners, and sometimes the total is called sum, S-U-M. That's all the same thing. So when we think about this first equation, 110 equals 70 plus 40. In this equation, the 110 is called what part? Is it an addend or a total? Well, I know that if I put 70 and 40 together, if they're added together, they make 110, so those two are the addends. And then that leaves the total to be this 110 right here. Then let's take a look. If we flip this equation around and put the equal sign and 110 on the other side, does it change anything? Well, 70 plus 40 are still being added together, so they're still the addends. And then 110 is still the total, so that is still the total. Alright, let's go do the next one. Now here we see that the addends have been switched around. Does that make a difference? No, it does not. They're both still the addends, and 110 is still the total. Now what if they're switched around and, and the total is on the other side? Does it make a difference? No, it does not. The equal sign can be on either side, and because of the commutative property of addition, the addends can be in either order, and it doesn't matter. Now, here we're getting into subtraction, and that's where it can get a little bit trickier. You see those little subtractions? So we have to be careful. In this first equation, 40 equals 110 minus 70. Now, we're not adding anything together in this, but the relationship remains the same. So we know that if we were to add 40 and 70, we would get the total of 110. And if we have the total and we take away one of the addends, we get the other addend. Remember, you learned addition and subtraction in 2nd grade, but here we're focusing on the relationship between addition and subtraction. So we're seeing here that if you have a total and you remove one of the addends, you are left with the remaining addend. Okay? Alright, so here we go again. We got a total. We are taking away one of the addends, and what are we left with? The other addend. Okay, down here at the bottom, we have 70 equals 110 minus 40. So what is the total there? Yes, it is the 110. It's the number that you would get if you added the two other numbers together. which means 70 is an addend and 40 is an addend. Last one over here, we have our total taking away an addend, and what do we get? That's right, another addend. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense to you so far. I'm going to move ahead to the next page. Now here we're going to write the equations for this this math mountain right here. You can also see we began with the total on the left, and we swapped to the total on the right, so let's go ahead and do that. Our total in this case is 140, and it's going to equal the two addends, which are, make this a little smaller, 80 plus 60. Then we're just going to flip it so the equal sign is on the other side. So then we have 80 plus 60, and that equals, stylus is going to come in handy, 140. Right? Same thing. Now we're going to swap the order of the addends, and it will not make a difference. So here we have 140, and that equals 60 plus what? What's it going to be? That's right, it's going to be 80. And then here we're going to do the same thing, 60 plus 80. And if we have the equal sign on the other side, does it matter? No, it does not, because it's about balancing. And what is on this side of the equal sign is the same value as what's on that side of the equal sign. So it's like a little teeter-totter, and it's flat, and it's balanced. Okay, now if we go back to our earlier one, we can see we had one addend, and then we did the total take away the other addend. So let's do that. So we'll have 80, and that's going to equal, should it be 60 take away 140? If you stop and think about that, 60 take away 140, you're going to end up getting a negative number. That's not what we want. We want it to equal 80. And what's going to equal 80? That's right. It's if we have the total and we remove the remaining addend. That will equal 80. Now, let's see how we did the other one. We had the total, take away the addend. Oh, we did the same part right here. We just moved the equal sign. Okay, we could do that. So, we'll have our total, 140, and we'll take away the 60. And what's it going to be? It's going to be 80. That's right. Now, hopefully, at this point, you're probably thinking, Mrs. Smith, we are just writing the exact same equation over and over and over again. And you're right, we are. And it's because I'm trying to help make it clear that when you understand the relationship between three numbers, you can create all of these different equations out of it. And they can be helpful because once one of these letters, or one of these numbers is a letter, right? Like we've been doing that a lot. If we know how we can make all these equations, we can figure out how to get that b by itself and then figure out what it is, right? So that's why we're focusing on that right now. Okay, last one on this page. We have the addend that we first had inside, so we'll have it over there. Equals the total, take away the other addend. So we're going to have 60 equals, what's our total? 140. And we're taking away what? That's right, the other addend, 80. And then, last one on the side, we're going to just swap the position of the equal sign. So we'll have 140. We're going to take away that same addend, 80. And what's it going to equal? 60. Perfect. Okay. Now let's move on. Now we're going to use that knowledge to solve these word problems. So the first word problem says, Chris's group picked 80 apples. Let's go ahead and annotate our problem like we normally do. 80 apples. His mother's group picked 60 more. How many apples do they have now? So first things first, I know they're asking how many apples, so I know my label is going to be apples. Oh my gosh, that's so messy. Okay. Now, I'm going to draw my math mountain. I have my two things. There's Chris's and his mother's, and we're asking how many they have now, like all together. So those are both my add-ins, 80 and 60. And then our mystery number is our total. Oops. And that's our apple number, right? So we just spent like a million, not a million hours, but like a long time working with 80 and 60, and we know it equals 140. But in case you forgot, we also learned that the two things at the bottom, you add them together, and you'll get your variable or your missing number. So we're going to do, oops, 80. Boop. We're going to do 80 plus 60. So A plus 60, 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 tens plus 8 tens is 14 tens. I put the 4 down there. That 10 tens is joining the hundreds place. Ooh, up there. So we have 140. So we had 80 plus 60 equals, at first we said A for apples, and now we're saying 80 plus 60 equals 140. So, it's off the edge of the page, 140. Okay, so our answer is 140 apples. The next one. And by the way, at any point, you're welcome to pause this video, and if you're feeling really confident, you can move ahead, try one problem, and then you can watch me go through it and see if you did it right, okay? All right, so the next one, Chris's group had 140 apples. They ate 80 of them. How many do they have now? So now we have here a math mountain. We have our total of 140. If they ate, that means they subtracted. So they removed 80 of them, and now we're looking for our missing number. But we know it's going to be the other addend, and we know how to find the missing addend because we understand how math mountains work, right? So all we have to do is take our total, right? Our total, subtract one of the addends to get the other addend. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll have 140, and we're going to subtract 80, and then we'll see what we get. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 8 is not going to work, so we have to ungroup. We take our 100, leaving 0 hundreds. That 100 turns into 10 tens, and that joins our 4 tens in the tens place. So now we have 14 tens. And then now we have 14 minus 8, and we know that is 6. So now we have our answer, which is 60. And we know it says how many apples, so we'll write apples. And the number was 60. Okay, next one. Allison's class brought 70 juice boxes to the picnic. Taylor's class brought 50 juice boxes. How many juice boxes did they bring all together? So first, let's annotate. So Allison brought 70, Taylor brought 50, and it's asking how many all together, and the label is juice boxes. So first I'm going to put my label, juice boxes. Now, it's asking how many they brought all together, and I can tell when it says all together that that is looking for this total, and that means my other two numbers are my add-ins. So that means to find that missing total, what I need to do is add the two add-ins, right? So I'm going to go back. I'm going to add those up. 70 plus 50. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then 7 plus 5. Take the 3 from the 5, join it with the 7. That makes a full 10. And then there's 2 remaining, so it's 12. And then that 10 tens is 100, joins the hundreds place, and now you have 120. So they have 120 juice boxes. All right, number 6. There are 120 juice boxes at the picnic. Allison puts 70 on tables and leaves the rest in the cooler. How many juice boxes are in the cooler? So, here we have our math mountain. Oops. It sounds like in the whole situation there are 120 juice boxes. And then some of that whole group, a portion of it, is the 70, but we're missing the other add-in. But we know that if we're missing an add-in, all we have to do to find that add-in is have the total take away the other add-in that we know. So we'll do that. So we'll have our total, and we will subtract. And we'll get 0 minus 0 is 0, and 2 minus 7, that's not going to work, so we have to ungroup. We take our 10, or our 100 from the hundreds place, leaving 0 hundreds. Now we have 12 minus 7. That will work. So you can count up 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 5, right? So our missing number is 50. The words after how many are juice boxes. 50 juice boxes. Okay. Now this is some review of what we just did. So we had the 80 and the 60 together, and that was 140. We had the 40 take away 80, and that's what? 60. Then over here we had 70 plus 50 was what? And that was 120. And then 120 take away 70 is going to be what? That's right, it's going to be 50. The reason this page is so repetitive is because they're really hoping that you're going to make the connection between these addition problems and these subtraction problems. That's the whole point of this right now. Okay. Now, here we're talking about the equal sign. So an expression is a combination of numbers, variables, and operation signs, but they don't have an equal sign. If it doesn't have an equal sign, if it's just like 1 plus 2, no equal sign, it's an expression. If it has an equal sign and both sides on each side of the equal sign are the same value or worth the same amount altogether, then you have an equation. But the important thing is both sides have to match in value. There's this other symbol called a does not equal or is not equal to sign, and that's if the two sides are not the same. So we know when we look at this, 5 plus 3, we know that's supposed to be 8, right? And 7 is not 8, so it has this not equal sign too. So I want you to go ahead and think of a few things that are equal, and then write them on the lines or on your paper. You can peek up at mine and see if you have something similar. Now, because we're coming up with these on our own, they might be different, but just think about if it makes sense. And it says to have different numbers on each side of the equal sign. So I could do like 5 equals 4 plus 1. I could do 100 minus 10 equals 90. I could do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, equals 10 take away 5, oh, because 10 take away 5 is 5, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. Or I could do like 7 take away 7 equals 100 take away 100, because both of those equal what? 0, exactly. Now down here we're going to write some things that are totally not equal, like 7 is not equal to 1,000,000, oops, take away 2. 5 plus 5 is not equal to 0. 18 plus 18 is not equal to 1,818. Okay. And let's move on. Now you're going to put things in these boxes that make the sentence true. That's really important. That's why we're focusing on this right now, because math sentences like this, like, it has to be true. That's what's going to make it correct. So we think about, okay, 160 equals what plus 90? Think of our math mountain. We have our total. We have one of the partners. We're missing the other one. So how are we going to get that? By subtracting, right? So we could do 160 minus 90. 6 minus 9 is not going to work, so we have to ungroup. 0, 16, and that is 7, so that'll be 70. 30 plus what does not equal 120? Now, in this box, there is only one answer that would be incorrect, because okay, so 30 plus 90 is 120, and if you put 90 in that box, then your sentence will be wrong because it says it does not equal 120. So if you put in 5, then you have 30 plus 5 does not equal 120, and 30 plus 5 is 35, and 35 is not the same thing as 120, so that's perfect, right? And then this one over here, 70 plus 20 equals 20 plus what? Now, there's only one thing that can go in there, and if you think about it like this, like 70 plus 20 equals 20 plus what? 20 is already in both of them, so the only thing that could go in here is that 70 for them to be the same amount, right? Over here, 150, take away what is 70? Well, you know, with our Math Mountain knowledge, that if we have 150 take away 70, we will get what goes in that box. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 7 is not going to work, so you have to ungroup. 0 hundreds, 15 tens, and that is 8. So 80. This is another not equal to, so it has to be anything besides 70, because I know 140 take away 70 is 70, so we could do maybe like 4. That's true. 4 is not the same thing as 70. And then 60 take away 20 is not equal to 10 plus 10 plus something. So first, what is 60 take away 20? It's 40. So 10 plus 10 is 20. So the thing that cannot go in here is 20. So let's do like 3. Cool. Okay, and then this one, put in the right sign to see if it makes sense. Okay, so 80 plus 20, that's 100. Plus 40, that's 140. And then before you say it's not equal to 90, remember it's saying 90 plus 50. What is 90 plus 50? That's also 140. So 140, is it equal to 140? Yes, it is. And then over here, 60 take away 20, what is that? It's It's 40. Is 80 equal to 40? No, it is not. And then 40 plus 30, what does that mean? It is 70. Is 70 equal to 70? Yes, it is. Great. All right, so that's it for today. I posted a video, or no, I'm sorry, not a video. I posted a link to the sort of like way for me to check your work in Think Central. It's listed as an assignment, and it's Unit 5, Lesson 1. I think it says it's a homework assignment, so that's what I'm talking about. Also, if you have any comments for me, aside from things being messy because I'm using my finger, if the volume was too low, or if you wanted me to slow down or speed up or do anything differently, please let me know. I'm here to help, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.